This video is brought to you by Narrative. AI. It's everywhere, it's controversial, it's fun, it's kind of scary, and there's a lot to be concerned about when it comes to its use for us as photographers specifically, but also just in general. It's really hard to keep up with all the different tools out there and understanding what you should use, what you should avoid, and the ethics behind it. Generative AI in particular is a pretty touchy subject, especially for photographers, because it can either destroy the reputation of us or build up the creative part of our community, and it really all depends on how the tools are used. But there is an approach to AI that I think is a lot more ethical and has clean-cut lines, and that is anything that has to do with assistive AI. Assistive AI, instead of doing everything for you, instead comes alongside you to help you with your creative vision and goals. It's not the type of AI that just does everything for you with a touch of a button or with a prompt, but instead what it's doing is it's understanding its limitations and it's helping you push the low-level ideas out of the way so that you can focus on what's important. And that's exactly what makes Narrative stand out from the rest, is it's not some sort of a tool that just does it all for you, but instead comes alongside you and assists you in getting rid of all the obvious no choices so that you can focus on what's important for the yes choices. What makes Narrative different, and in my opinion, the best AI culling software out there, is the fact that they are using this assistive approach and they're really not trying to strip away the user or creative aspects of culling at all. In fact, they're trying to just enhance it by, again, pushing away the bad ideas that should be obvious, which you can control, by the way, and moving forward from there. Now, for full transparency, I am an ambassador for Narrative, and they are sponsoring this video, so it's not an unbiased video, but at the same time, I would recommend their product either way, just like every other sponsorship I've ever taken on, and that's because I truly believe in what they're doing. So take that for what it is, and today I'm gonna go ahead and dive into how I've been using Narrative for the past 8 months in my workflow, and hopefully inspire you to try it out. And before we dive into the interface, I just want to give you a really quick funny story. I actually heard about Narrative from Taylor, the Narrative ambassador manager himself, and it was because I was walking around on the last day of Imaging USA and I randomly bumped into him like, hey, how you doing? And he had a really cool mustache, and of course I have this really awesome beard. So we started talking about facial hair, and it was just that personal connection that he made, and their whole company culture, the approach of being warm, being personable, being driven by people, that really inspired me to try it out, and I did, and I love it, and it's been extremely helpful for me. So that's why we're talking about it today. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. They are a very real company with a real small team, and they're doing great work for photographers by photographers. So with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into how I use Narrative to improve my workflow. All right, so I'm working on Mac. This is also available for PC. Let's go ahead and open up Narrative. This is what it looks like after you install it. And right away, you're greeted with a really nice user interface. What I love about Narrative is how intuitive it is and how clean and simple it is. It doesn't overwhelm you in any way, and that's kind of the whole point of the software, is to kind of make things a lot simpler and less confusing, which I really love. So all we have to do is follow the simple prompts. Now, Narrative can do a lot more than just culling. It can do culling, but it also can run your own edits through its system for Lightroom and create your own presets so you can export directly to Lightroom with all the colors and basic adjustments there. Like I said, it's not trying to do everything for you and finish it, but it's trying to boost your workflow and help you cull and get them back into Lightroom quickly. Now, I don't work in Lightroom anymore. I was when I first started using Narrative, and the workflow is seamless. Now I'm using Capture One, which it also integrates with, but not in the same way. So if you're a Lightroom user, you really get the power out of those AI presets to train off of your own systems, or you can use AI presets that already exist. But basically what I'm going to do to start culling is hit create a new project. Now, because I work out of Capture One, all I have to do is find the folder that that Capture One catalog is in. So I'm going to click that, and here I'm going to navigate to my Dropbox, Luma University, because that's where I teach out of. I recently did a workshop here for studio photography, and here is the Capture One project, and I can just hop into the Capture folder. This is where it is, and hit choose folder, and it's going to bring in my files. I'm just going to name it here. Let's do Ashley. That's my model's name, if I could spell. Perfect. Hit next, and it's going to ask me what I'd like to do. Does it want me to pre-edit or cull plus edit? And of course I want to cull plus edit. So let's click on that, and here we go. Boom, they're in. And this is the main interface of Narrative that we use. So you'll notice here, there's some buttons. They're very minimal, but all you have to do to figure out what they do is to hover over them, and then you can see exactly what it is. So you can have the grid view, click it, or press G to go to grid view, which is very common. We're all familiar with this. And then we also have scenes view. This is a really powerful way. This is where we're going to be doing most of our culling, or at least the view that I like to use for culling. And again, you can press S for scenes view. So very, very easy. And then here we have loop view. So if I press E, we can get into loop mode. Then we have survey mode. So survey mode's really cool because it lets you compare different shots with each other. And there's two modes. You can have the whole image to compare by pressing N, or you have face compare by pressing Shift N or clicking this button. And you can compare the different faces in the shots that you select. So I can come in here, command click multiple shots, and it automatically pulls up the faces right in front of me so that I can see exactly what they look like. It also shows you the ratings for how the eyes are. So in this case, this is giving me a good focus with the rating at the bottom here, 6 out of 10. And then the eyes open or closed, there's indicators here as well. So each shot, it's going to have indicators of where the eyes are and if it's, in focus or whatnot. We also have the sort order option here. So if I click this, we can change the order to scene rank, capture time, the capture time reverse, or the file name. In this case, I like to use scene rank and capture time because that's the whole point of using AI, is it's already gone through, it's already figured out what the different images have, and you can adjust them by the scenes. So that's really cool. And then of course we have our filters, which are automatically set up, but you can also close them or open them, and you have AI first pass. You can turn on or off undesirable pics so that if you don't want to see them, you can turn off the unlikely ones and the undesirable ones. Now I shoot in the studio and a lot of my shots are in really good focus. Sometimes I get the eye a little bit out of focus, and so that's probably what's been pushed into the unlikely section. And so I can just hit potential, and that's good. And see, narrative is not saying that these are perfect photos. It says their potential is high, which means they're worth you looking at, which is really great. And then we can choose how good we want the focus to be. Like, how strict do we want the sharpness in our images to be? And in most cases, anywhere 6 and above, which is default, is fantastic. And I think you'll get away with amazing images with that. If you go too strict into 10, it's looking for like extremely, extremely sharp ones, which can be helpful if you've shot a ton, if you did an event and you just have way too many images and you want only the sharpest ones. So you can see the more strict I get, the less images are in there. 242 images for 6 or above is really good. You can see the green indication. 7 is also very good. If you want it to be a bit more strict, 8 or above is very good. And this is something that I use quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. If you don't have a whole lot of images, or you're okay with a little bit of blur, like you intentionally have motion blur, or the softness and dreamy effect is kind of what you're going for, then you can disregard the sharpness as much as you want. So there's that. Now I've gotten rid of 75 other photos that I don't need to look at because I know they're not going to be sharp enough for me. Now we can clear the filters, or we can hit the 3 dots icon here and we can actually turn on and off certain filter features. So we of course have the AI assessments, which we talked about here, and then the image focus score, which is here, but we also have the star rating we can turn on. We can turn on color ratings, and this all comes over from Lightroom if you tagged them this way, by the way. So they should automatically have these if you have done any work in that way, or whatever you do here will be then sent back to Lightroom as it is. Also, we have tags as well, and then of course the camera and the serial number and the capture date. You can also put in your lens information here if you wanted to, and then you can filter out depending on the stars, the colors, the flagging, and all that stuff if you want to. But really, just in general, the AI assessments and the image focus score is what you're mostly going to be concerned with. And if you don't want the focus score to be a factor at all, you can just turn it off right here. So there's a lot of great ways to kind of filter things out. And that's one of the superpowers narrative has, is just all these different ways to view and sort things so that you can push away all of the fluff and only focus on what it is you need to look at. So that's a really powerful thing. I'm going to stick with the AI assessments and the image focus score. So this is the meat and potatoes of how the AI-assisted culling works in narrative. So the first image in the scenes view is the scene. So that is the photo, the thumbnail for that particular set of images that look similar. Now in this case, there's only one. But if I go down a couple scenes here, you can see when I get to this one, there are 2 images in this particular scene because it's found a pose that kind of matches. So now I can go up with my up and down arrows and see the images within the scene. It's going to choose what it thinks is the best one at the top of the list, and then you can rate that if you like that scene. If you're not a particular fan of the entire scene at all, you can just skip by it by pressing the left and right arrow. So left and right switches between scenes like this. and up and down switches between the photo within that scene, if that makes sense. So in this case, I like this scene. I think it's cool, but this is before we even got to the lighting part. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead from here. And we can see, oh, this one's dark. This is not looking so good. Oh, we can see we're still doing test lighting and all sorts of stuff. So I can just skip through these scenes and I don't even have to worry about them, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to skip through. All right, so here we have a scene that has multiple images in it. You can see it's rated this one 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all very similar. They're all labeled blue, which means they're a good choice. So there's really no bad option here. It's just choosing which one we like the most. It thinks that this first one is going to have the best chance because it's got the best sharpness score and all that stuff. But you see it's in great focus, number 8. This one's also great focus. So again, we're in the studio, the camera's doing great work. So these are all really good picks, actually. I think the first choice is the best one. So I'm just gonna press 1 on my keyboard to mark that photo 1 star, move on to my next scene. I can check through here. I think I agree, this one's better, so I'm gonna hit 1. And that continues on through this whole process. So I'm just gonna blast through this and see what we have. Cool, so once you reach the end, it's gonna prompt you to export everything to Lightroom. In my case, I'm gonna say ship and edit, and we're going to choose Capture One instead. So right here, there's Capture One built in. I'm gonna choose images with rating. That's the default, it makes most sense. I rated everything 1 star, and I can either choose to move or copy the files. And this really depends on what you're going for. To copy the files means it's gonna create a backup basically and not move the original location, or you can say move files to. In this case, I'm gonna go ahead and move files to and browse destination. So in here, I have a selects folder in Capture One that's already built for me. So I can go ahead and say choose destination, and that's going to put my selects there. It's just going to move them without needing more hard drive space, basically. And then it's going to ask, do I want to create a new project with the move files? And this is dependent on your workflow with Capture One. I don't want to create a new project because I've already had that project built in Capture One. But say you weren't using Capture One, you were out shooting in the field and you were importing them into the computer directly. You run it through Narrative first, and then you want to launch it into Capture One. Then you could create a new project because you probably don't have a project for this already anyway, and it'll prompt you and guide you through that. But in this case, I already have a project. I've selected the folder in that project, so I'm good to go. Now, something to keep in mind is as you click around, it's going to tell you how many images it's selected. And if you unclick these certain filters, it's going to remain in the selection. So what you need to do is press clear here, choose just the one filter, and you'll see 33 out of 295 photos will be moved. So you just check however many images. That should look correct, and then press ship plus move. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it's going to give me just this quick shipping 33 images. And voila, here we go. It launched Capture One for me. Now, all I have to do is look in here to my selects folder, boom, which is where I chose to put them. And here they are. All of the images that I culled with Narrative. So that's it. That's how I use Narrative in my workflow. It's super, super easy. Again, if you're a Lightroom user, go ahead and take advantage of the AI presets because again, it learns off of your own library. It's super, super handy, super, super easy. And I think they do a wonderful job making sure that their AI assistive tools are not taking over your creativity. It's just literally making sure to get rid of the obvious bad choices or to give you the option to filter out how you want those choices to be presented to you so you don't have to do so much digging and go through every single picture. And because this video is sponsored by Narrative, they are giving you a free trial. If you use the link in the description or the pinned comment, you can get a test trial of Narrative for free, which is awesome. You can give it a try, see how you like it. And if you do end up purchasing it, I have a coupon code as well, which you can use in the description again, and that will give you a discount off of your plan of Narrative that you decide to choose. So that's about it. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'm happy to help. And thank you so much again to Narrative for partnering with me. This has been a huge time saver for me. It's just a big, awesome thank you to you guys. And thank you for sponsoring this video. Have a good one and happy culling.